This video is brought to you by Redneck Engineer, custom-built gaming PCs and parts for an affordable price. Use code joshscorcher at checkout for a 5% discount. And make sure you don't have any coupon clipping extensions like Honey installed or I don't get my commission. Thank you!
Okay, here we go, Mario Month. How are we gonna kick this off?
Worst games!
Are you sure? I mean, opening the month off with a negative countdown is...
Worst games!
Did you play these?
I won't be a Mario connoisseur if I didn't, would I?
How bleak was your childhood?
It's me, Mario!
Mario is a humongous franchise. No video game IPs out there can quite boast a compendium of games anywhere near the same scale as the one with the red plumber on it. And that's not even counting the branch spin-offs led by other characters in the series.
With over 200 games in its legacy, it's a no-brainer that there's going to be a handful of stinkers. Enough to make a top 10 on its own even. When it comes to actually measuring what makes a bad Mario game though, it's complicated. We're looking for games that are either badly made, aka too poorly designed to be fun, or just plain soulless. Like one that's put together with recycled assets and shoved out for a quick buck.
Thing is, most of these games work. They aren't glitchy, unplayable messes. At worst, they're a 4 out of 10. But they ultimately go against what makes Mario good. They're just not fun. And that's what's important here. If some of the games we listed do have some fun to them, even ironically, then they're going to be graded lower than those that just suck out our souls playing them. And yes, this applies to the edutainment games too. After all, if it's not fun, why bother?
Let's dumpster dive into some of Mario's all-time greatest garbage. Nice of Nintendo to invite us over for a Mario game, eh, Josh?
I hope they made lots of RPG mechanics!
Josh, look! It's their regurgitated leftovers.
Gee, kinda sucks.
Yep, we're starting with the one, the only Hotel Mario. When Philips developed the CDI, their own attempt at stretching into the console market, Nintendo gave them the rights to a few of their IPs to develop exclusive games for the console. And history was made!
My boy!
So, elephant in the room aside, how does it play? Well, it plays. It resembles more of a gimmicky arcade game than a standard Mario fare. In every level, you go through each floor, dodge enemies, and close doors. That's the game. Inoffensive, but relatively unimpressive.
But these cutscenes, man, these cutscenes are rough. It's no wonder that it sold so poorly that Philips' licensing deal was instantly revoked, and any plans for future games were canceled. If you wonder why Nintendo is so protective of their games being on other systems, yeah, this is why.
It's been one of those days.
The silly movements and janky voices definitely gave us a lot of material to smoosh together and laugh at.
The game itself isn't even that bad. It's simple but charming in its own off-brand way. Definitely not worse than the Zelda ones. Really, the biggest problem with it is that it's on the CDI, and only the CDI. If you're not willing to fork up your life savings to get it on eBay, trying to play this game any other way takes way more technical work than necessary. For the kind of game that it is, it's just not worth the hassle unless you're some kind of devout historian. And you all thought you had it bad with Switch 2.
The game's cutscenes, as jarring, off-model, and cheap as they are, they're probably the only reason anybody even remembers Hotel Mario in the first place. The gameplay is a big ball of nothing interesting, and all the memey goodness of the cutscenes is available online anyway, and have been remixed and YouTube pooped to the point where actually sitting down to play the game gives you nothing noteworthy.
Now for the next entry on the list.
Come, my fellow viewers, sit down while I tell you a story of the blandification of Mario. This era began in the early 2010s when Nintendo thought they'd finally gotten Mario figured out. Hence, most games at the time just followed the baseline of what makes Mario familiar without pushing any boundaries. Galaxy 2 and 3D Land got away with just recycling ideas from previous titles. The RPGs traded their unique world and characters for the same old. And of course, the money printer that is the new Super Mario Bros. Sequels.
New Super Mario Bros. 2 was the game that got a good chunk of the community to realize, oh, Nintendo's selling out. Now sure, we can say whatever we want about U and its deluxe version, but at least those try to freshen up the fun. 2 didn't even try.
Considering it's the third title in the new Super Mario series and they just called it 2, it's already a bad start. Friggin' liars.
More so considering it has the nerve to call itself new when there's barely anything new about it. Over half the level designs are just rehashed from previous better titles. Even the music is just the same thing but with more bass. How original.
Actually, it's Pa. It's the same sample they used in Mario 64. Oh, did you know that Umaneko also used it?
Boss, I'm the obscure facts about Mario guy here.
You gave me this line to say!
I said it in my worst Mario bosses and I'm saying it here. The Koopalings suck. At this point, we get way too much of them and they never bring anything fresh to the table. Just like the rest of the game.
Well, that's not completely true. It does one thing new.
Yeah! Coin!
Oh, were you worried you weren't getting enough coins in a Mario game? No problem. New Super Mario Bros. 2 has coins coming out the frickin' wazoo! To the point where they have golden enemies that give you more coins!
Oh wow, it's self-aware that it's a cash grab, guys. That's so charming, it makes me want to spawn a triple banana without looking.
Okay, in the spirit of fairness, it's not terrible enough to put higher on the list. Like, if it's someone's first Mario game, they'd probably have fun with it. It's generic, it's gimmicky, it just kind of makes us mad because it plays it safe and recycles what worked. The internet was too harsh on you. Pinball spin-offs. Nintendo's got them, from Pokemon to Kirby to Metroid. They're, okay, so logically if Mario gives it a shot, it should be a masterpiece too, right? Am I playing a prototype of Sonic Spinball?
That is somehow still slower. Okay, yeah, Pinball Land isn't great. The game is basically a Mario-style adventure with flippers. You go around each room of a level, complete missions, get stars, and beat bosses. On paper, it looks like a lot of fun. The game looks great aesthetically, the music's awesome, and there's so much variety when it comes to items, enemies, and bosses that it came really close to being a great game.
Sadly, all it takes is implementing your core mechanic poorly to ruin everything. Simply put, Mario, as a ball, just moves too fast. The precision required to hit him is practically lightning, to the point where missions straight up feel luck-based. And if you fail or get sent back a room, you have to work your way back into wherever you came from and reset whatever mission you were doing. Fun.
Now fortunately, the game is nice enough to give you a pipe to barricade the pit, but even that didn't stick around for too long. The combination of stiff gameplay and severe penalties just makes the game way more frustrating than it's worth.
Oh, and you bet it comes together in the boss fights. While Petey and Toot and Koompa are simple enough, King Boo, Porcupuffer, and Bowser make you juggle a lot of mechanics around on top of the cheap penalty.
Personally, I do have a bit of a soft spot for this game. I don't think a pinball adventure game is completely dead in the water as a concept. The game felt like it only needed to be tweaked a bit for it to be a good one. That aside, I am charmed enough by it to complete it and get every single star as a kid.
You were way too patient.
Not really. I'm just always at peace when playing games that got my interest back then. Surely you can relate.
Hey, that's not exactly the... Okay, it's exactly the same.
The great thing about Mario Party spin-offs is that they're allowed to go against the series norm and do their own thing without people getting on their case too much. Even if the gameplay can be hit or miss, there's always something interesting and creative about them that's worth looking back fondly to.
And then there's this game, which is just Wii Party, but bad.
Why is the UI exactly like Mario Party 9?
Mario Party Island Tour is what happens when Nintendo thought they had something going with Mario Party 9 and decided to make it worse. And a lot going for it with the 3DS's unique features. Even had the most amount of mini-games on any Mario Party to date. But they range from gimmicky to badly designed. Okay, there are some good ones, but, you know, monkeys with typewriters.
The normal flow is a race on a linear board with some tasks you need to complete along the way. And for some reason, these tasks are just expanded version of the bonus stars you will get at the end of the boards anyway. Why did they make a fun bonus into a tedious chore? There is literally a board where you need to land on specific tiles the most. And I thought hunting sombrero guys in Paper Jam sucks.
The lack of polish for this game is very evident. It feels less like a work of art and more like the devs just threw things together from their back pocket to see what sticks. It honestly feels like a strong trend for this area of Mario, especially on the 3DS.
To be fair, there are some things to like here. There's a surprising amount of good dialogue, especially if you play as Bowser Jr. and meet his dad. Also, the choice's voice is just a riot.
Take linear levels, boring minigames, and questionable design choices, and you get this mess. Even Final Fantasy XIII fans will have a hard time defending it. But at least they didn't give us a Mario Party with just minigames, right? Right?
In his prime, Mario always knew how to nail every ball in the court with solid gameplay that gets more interesting with each title. But over time, it felt like they ran out of gas. Not so much that they were terrible, but they just kind of fell apart.
And then came the peak of Mario Sports throwing in the towel, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Spoiler alert, the box and discard are the most exciting parts of the whole thing. I'll say this, the graphics look nice at least.
And that's all we really can say because the rest of the game is a big ol' nothing sandwich. No extra modes, no boss fights, nothing. There's barely any difference between the arenas other than the colors. How thrilling.
And the big gimmick here is the big gimmick. Mega Battle modes made you a Titan in the court, and that's it. Seriously, look at some of the other Mario Tennis titles. The Game Boy Advance version had mini-games, and 64 gave us
Waluigi!
Heck, the Game Boy Color title had a story mode and RPG mechanics. Let me repeat that. Game Boy did more than this high-budget modern console title.
It's the NSMB2 of Mario sports games. You'll like it fine if it's your first one, but it's only uphill from there. Aces at least got back on track with having more going for it, but it's still a far cry from what the series is normally able to do. Come on, Mario. I know you can ball harder than this. Pop quiz. What do you think of when you hear Mario Party Top 100?
Ooh, a celebration of the franchise across 100 boards?
Ha! You wish. It's 100 minigames. And one board.
I spent no money, and I still feel ripped off. Popping up near the tail end of the 3DS's career, Mario Party Top 100 promised to celebrate one of the franchise's most iconic spin-off game genres. How? By bundling together 100 of the series' best minigames.
Ah yes, Tug of War, Slot Car Derby, Crank to Rank, Heat Stroke, and Button Mashers. Only the real heavy hitters. Seriously? Where's Aces High, Crazy Cutters, Running of the Bulb, Dungeon Duos, or Circuit Maximus? You know, the actual top tier minigames? I mean, sure, we got ones like Hexagon Heat and Booksquirm, but this is the top 100, not top 70 or 60 something.
Yay for false advertising! Not to mention, the mini-games have these really unnecessary changes like messing with the physics for bumper balls and bombs away. Like, I can see the attempt to make these more fair and engaging, but their attempts to fix it just made things worse.
Not only are there no minigames from the handheld titles, but won't it make more sense to have like 10 minigames from each major title instead of 17 from 5 and only 3 from 8? At least make it somewhat even if they're gonna justify putting mediocre ones in here.
And then there's the board. There's only one, and it's a watered-down Star Rush. Items, models, gimmicks, all recycled. We only get 8 characters to play with and no DK or Birdo. See, the point is the mini-games. They're the star of the show here. But is there really any point in playing a compilation of them when there isn't anything at stake? Without any boards or engaging game modes, the game feels no different than any other bland shovelware that's just a pointless minigame collection. Even if they're fun, they're gonna get boring after a while. There's a reason they're relegated to the side content in the mainline games.
This one's especially disappointing because it's meant to be a tribute to one of Mario's flagship spin-offs, and instead it just feels uneven and stupid easy. I guess given the series' track record at the time, the devs struggled trying to do it right anyway. And besides, Superstars and to an extent Jamboree made this game pointless by giving us better minigame compilations while having actual game modes. Coupled with the 3DS on its way out shortly after, and we have one Mario Party guaranteed to kill the fun.
Hey Count, it's time for your decade supply of Mario's early years!
Help me!
Yep, Mario doesn't just do sports, karting, and medicine, he's a teacher too!
Congratulations, you made it!
And his career is, interesting, but who says we can't have fun with it? They call it edutainment for a reason. Get early years for one. It teaches you colors, numbers, and letters, all through a chock full of exciting game modes like clicking on random crap or headbutting objects while characters pop out of nowhere and cheer for you.
I like your choice. What the f is that?
Oh, that's just one of our incredible selection of cheerleaders like Creepy Dwarf Goomba, Bowser holding an ice cream, Koopa Troopa
And a
with
slim fit condom.
floating heads, some guy, and a flower.
Why do they look like that?
Good question. Studies show that kids are surprisingly tolerant of the uncanny valley compared to adults. Hence, the art director never had to worry about letting a mishmash of art styles, bizarre sprite work, and robotic voice lines make up the whole aesthetic of the game.
I thought it's the opposite.
Hey, they hired child development specialists when making this game, so it just works, okay?
The only people who'd enjoy this are adults on acid.
Well, you must have taken acid to start showing that kind of attitude, young man. Aw, don't cry, little shaman. Uncle Josh has enough low-hanging fruit to feed your entire life. Ari, bring on the DOS versions! Count's hungry!
For a while, there was a debate about which was the real Mario sequel between the Japanese Lost Levels and the American Mario 2. Yeah, we're not gonna hold our breath. Mario 2 is the better and definite sequel. Say what you will about 2 being a reskin, it still introduced plenty of series mainstays. And, you know, it's actually a good game. What did Lost Levels bring into the table?
Yay, pain!
At the time, most devs didn't really know how to implement fair difficulty in games. A lot of them made things completely ridiculous on purpose in order to inflate playtime. This is one of those times. If the nonsensical platforming and enemy placements weren't enough, you got lots of routes that require hidden blocks or jumping on enemies to cross over. Don't even bother with warp zones either, because they either don't take you far at all or send you back. It feels like a predecessor to those Kaizo Mario hacks that are intended to actively piss streamers off.
And it's not like it tries to ease you into the difficulty either. The first mushroom you come across is an instant death trap. While obvious in All Stars, it barely looks different in the original. Keep in mind, this was on the Famicom, with no kind of saving or passwords. Even outside of that, the game doesn't really do enough to improve and innovate on the previous formula. All there is are Luigi's mainstay controls, which are not handled well here, and a weather system which, let's be honest, nobody wants. Won't be a problem if the levels actually supported these mechanics, but...
For as much crap as I gave Galaxy 2 back in the day, it never felt like I was actively trying to waste your time. Heck, I'll take that easy as crap post-game over this one's any day. Seriously, did they even care when they made these? Even Nintendo Power themselves didn't try to sugarcoat things during their 25th anniversary retrospective.
In the end, I think we can safely say that these levels were lost for a good reason. Early years definitely shows that Mario doesn't do edutainment all that well. So if you can't even count on Mario to teach you numbers and alphabets, how the hell is he gonna teach you history?
Mario's Time Machine is Mario's worst edutainment, and it's not even close. Oh, but we're not talking about the DOS version with Malio in it, though that isn't much better either. We're talking about the SNES version. Do not be deceived by how much nicer it looks, because it's somehow worse.
While getting from point A to point B in the DOS game is at least simple enough, this one doesn't tell you anything. You just grab an artifact, figure out how to use the time machine, and then play a surfing minigame. You have to collect 10 mushrooms and go into a whirlpool to get to where you need to be.
What's that? That sounds stupid and needlessly complicated? Why, yes, but does the game at least tell you how to do this? Nope, back then you either figured it out by accident or looked up the instruction manual.
Okay, seriously, if you need a manual to play an edutainment game, then you might as well just read an actual history book.
And that's not even talking about the meat and potatoes of the game. The whole thing is just a series of Q&As to fill up a questionnaire before you can deliver artifacts back to their respective historical figures. Oh yeah, that questionnaire, by the way, you can fail it. And just to make it worse, each question has a monument of answers to pick from. If you can't figure out how to play the game, then good luck not dying of boredom brute forcing it with all these safeguards intact. Probably still better than dying of boredom playing the game properly.
But oh, even those potatoes are small compared to what comes next. You wanna know the worst thing about this game? The real reason it's this high? It has multiple endings. Yes, I am dead serious. If you don't beat the game fast enough, Bowser escapes into his own paradise. You can lose this game. Like, it's not enough that the mechanics are complicated, it has to treat itself like an exam. What? Isn't the whole point of edutainment is to learn while having fun? How is this fun? How is demanding that you beat a game with 15 10-question questionnaires with 100 answers per question to choose from as fast as possible fun? Why do history lessons always have to have the most tedious format imaginable that's completely counterintuitive to a good learning experience?
Hey, calm down. It's all in the past, man. It's all in the past. Hey, why don't you go watch up Bill Nye while I wrap this up? The only reason this isn't number one is because it's ultimately inconsequential to Mario as a franchise. It's just another edutainment game that comes and goes, so regardless of how painfully designed it is, it's virtually meaningless. Assuming you're not the poor soul who grew up playing with it with little to no help, of course. Number one, however, is beyond any strings attached. Mario Tennis Virtual Boy would have been a serviceable prototype for the series' future if my eyes weren't burning looking at it.
Super Mario Party, Switch. Everything feels smaller in scale, from content to board size to economy. Say what you will about 9 and 10, at least they try to stand out.
Mario is missing SNES. Sure, some of the stuff it teaches isn't even correct, but the serene atmosphere made it oddly pleasant?
Mario Kart Tour, mobile. The release version would have been on the actual list. Thankfully, the content it's got now has long redeemed it.
Mario teaches typing DOS. Pretty meh for an entertainment, but it did give us Mario Head, for better or worse.
Mario Strikers Battle League, Switch. You know, Mario actually made me care about football. It's a real shame that couldn't last.
Did you just call soccer football?
Americans.
Part of Nintendo's design philosophy is to avoid doing the same thing, to constantly innovate. For the most part, this code has served them well. However, there's a major flaw. Their idea of innovation only applies to gameplay and mechanics. When it comes to story and world, they seldom take risks, especially when Miyamoto's eyes are on the project. So without a fresh story to be engrossed by, when the oh-so-innovative gameplay doesn't pay off, there's not much else the game can stand on. That's why Super Paper Mario is still loved today, while Star Fox Zero is left to rot.
Screw you, I worked really hard on those! Appreciate me!
But even Mario eventually had to learn this lesson the hard way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paper Mario Sticker Star. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking. Sticker Star gets way too much hate. It really isn't that bad of a game, right? I mean, look at it. It's so beautiful and vibrant. The soundtrack is excellent. The paper-based aesthetic looks so good. If you put aside the lack of great storytelling and core RPG elements, the game should still be perfectly enjoyable. No, you don't get it. It looks harmless, like it couldn't hurt a fly. But it breaks so many rules, ignores so many fundamental aspects of a good gameplay loop, that even if you take away the disappointment factor, this game still sucks.
We all know the gist by now. The story is just Bowser kidnaps Peach again, with no twists or flair. RPG or not, that's shallower than we're used to. Next to no new characters, so the world is boring. You can win fights by running away, etc., etc. It's a sack of crap that just can't settle with dragging Paper Mario into the mud. Had to take Mario and Luigi down with it too. It's flavorless, like the other games in the blandification era. That's to be expected. What really turned the tide, however, the real reason it's worse than all the other ones, is that the overall gameplay severely lacks intuition.
Areas like World 2, 3, and 5 are filled to the brim with backtracking and arbitrary puzzle solving. You know, the things people complain about with Thousand Year Door and Super, the parts fans specifically don't like. Yeah, that's this whole game.
Exploring isn't fun since it's not clear where you're supposed to go a lot of the time. Puzzles require specific stickers to solve, so heaven forbid you use them up in a fight, because then you gotta grind wherever or exit the world just to get them back. And the boss fights? You straight up can't beat half of them unless you have their specific weaknesses. And when you do, they become a total cakewalk. These aren't boss fights, they're glorified locked doors you gotta pry open.
You know what this feels like? A college assignment. The devs make this world that you're meant to explore and figure out on your own, but then get criticized by their lecturers for being too vague. So how do they solve this problem? Kirsty. Her purpose is to tell you how to do the most basic things the game somehow couldn't make clear. Never mind that she's obnoxious as all fuck. Never mind that she doesn't say anything useful half the time or takes too long to start doing so. Never mind that it makes no sense why she won't know how to do things the intended way. As long as she's there, the game gets a passing grade for kind of telling you where to go.
On top of that, the game feels so anti-RPG. Like, it's made to resemble Paper Mario as much as possible, but the actual gameplay does everything in its power to avoid core RPG elements in favor of a dysfunctional action-adventure style gameplay. I think the best way I can put it is that it feels dishonest. Like, even with Super, you can tell there's a genuine passion to try something different. But here, it's just business charts the game. Like if it was made with modern day generative AI. A lot of this could be attributed to the questionnaire Nintendo sent out for feedback on what they gotta do for a new Paper Mario at the time. Because of how poorly executed that was, they didn't reach the proper crowd to get the right answers. So rather than being nuanced about it, it seems like they just went whatever and balled the final product.
You might think we're being too harsh, but trust me, this is painful. This is not how you design puzzles, and this is not how you do freeform exploration. The only way you'd actually have a good time with this is if you got mad lucky with your resources or have a guide at the ready. But that's like the exact thing Time Machine is guilty of, and you already know what I think of that blight on entertainment.
And the sad part is, the game actually does have some redeemable elements. Look at World 4, it's good level design, easy enemies that reward you handsomely, and some genuinely good puzzles and minigames. If the rest of the game was this easy to follow, we would have put it way lower.
The game has its fans, we don't deny that. Some people do genuinely get a kick out of the unorthodox way the game plays, and that's fine. All the games on this list hit the mark for someone in some way. It goes to show, even as much as we rib at these games, there's an attempt behind each of them to make something interesting, even if some of those things aren't all that exciting or just plain weird. So regardless of how awful these games are, there's no shame in liking them. Hell, I love my fair share of bad Mario games too. A big reason I really wanted to make this list with Josh is so that I get to talk about this niche of mine.
It's actually because our staff is getting tired of boss countdowns, but sure, whatever tickles your fancy. Let's just be glad that Nintendo is more willing to take smarter risks with Mario nowadays. We may be getting fewer games, but if it means we can get stuff like Odyssey, Bowser's Fury, Wonder, and Brothership more often, then who are we to rush them?
Sticker Star will remain a scar that damaged the legacy of Mario RPGs and Nintendo's philosophy forever. But as long as there are those who listen and are willing to amend the sins of this fallen title, then the best thing it can be is a reminder of what to avoid and where to improve upon.
I'm Josh Scorcher.
And I'm Count Shaman. Now then, I'll be taking my leave.
Wait, you're not staying for the whole month?
Nah, I got my own set of Mario-related projects to take care of. Good luck with the rest of the month, though.
I'm still making him edit these videos. I'm doubling his workload like the good boss I am.
Oh, come on!
Cut!